ladies and gentlemen. In life, each of us faces moments when negative feelings creep in, weighing us down, clouding our sense of self, and even holding us back from the dreams we aspire to reach. These emotions can feel overwhelming, almost like waves crashing against us, and it's easy to feel powerless. But here's the truth: we all have the strength to rise above these feelings. It's within each of us to push past self-doubt, fear, anger, and sadness, but that strength only comes through discipline. Understanding the roots of our emotions is the first step in transforming negative feelings into a positive, life-affirming force. So often we move through life on autopilot, reacting to situations based on emotions that we don't fully understand. We might feel anger in a challenging moment or sadness in a lonely one, but seldom do we stop to ask, where is this really coming from? Identifying the root of an emotion helps us gain clarity. Clarity makes all the difference, because without it, we're at the mercy of those feelings, letting them guide us instead of guiding them. Every emotion we feel has a history, a trail of past experiences, memories, or even traumas that leave an imprint on us. When we react strongly to a situation, it's rarely about that specific moment. It's more often about what that moment reminds us of or brings to the surface from deep within. Perhaps we grew up in an environment where we were often overlooked or dismissed. As adults, this experience might resurface as a feeling of inadequacy or frustration, especially in situations where we feel our voices aren't being heard. By recognizing the roots of these feelings, we give ourselves a powerful tool to understand why certain emotions hit us so hard. The past holds many of the keys to understanding our emotional responses, but recognizing that our reactions are often based on history is just the beginning. Awareness is not about getting stuck in old stories, it's about using them as stepping stones. When we see an emotion for what it is, a response triggered by past experiences, we can choose to respond differently in the present. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated, we can take a step back and think about what that moment is truly bringing up for us. In doing so, we give ourselves the space to respond with purpose rather than reacting out of pain or fear. Negative feelings often grow out of unhealed wounds and unchecked fears. If we feel a sense of jealousy or envy, for example, we might assume it's because someone else is doing better than us. But beneath that jealousy might lie a fear of inadequacy, a doubt in our own worthiness or abilities. The emotion is only a surface layer, a symptom of something deeper. We must dig beneath the surface to understand what that feeling is telling us about ourselves. By becoming more curious about our emotions, we can start to see them as guides, pointing us toward parts of ourselves that need healing and attention. Examining our emotions also requires honesty and vulnerability. It's not always comfortable to admit that we feel insecure or afraid. Society often teaches us to hide these feelings, to present a strong face to the world. But true strength comes not from hiding our emotions, but from understanding them. When we're willing to be honest with ourselves, to say, yes, I feel insecure right now, and that's okay, we open the door to deeper self-compassion. Acknowledging these feelings without judgment helps us release the shame or guilt we might carry around them, making it easier to understand and eventually move beyond them. Negative emotions are part of the human experience, and they don't make us weak or incapable. They make us human. Each time we recognize where our emotions are coming from, we strengthen our resilience and learn more about what makes us who we are. This knowledge gives us the power to change our perspective, to transform our responses, and to break the cycle of negativity. Over time, this practice of self-reflection becomes a skill we can rely on in the most challenging moments, helping us stay grounded even when difficult emotions arise. Exploring the roots of our emotions isn't about assigning blame or getting stuck in the past. It's about gaining insight and freedom. It's about saying, this happened and it shaped me, but it doesn't have to control me. It allows us to see beyond the immediate emotion to the bigger picture, where we have the ability to make choices that serve our well-being. By tracing an emotion back to its root, we realize that we can shift our response. We can choose compassion instead of resentment, understanding instead of anger. Recognizing the roots of our emotions is the key to creating meaningful change in our lives. It brings us back to ourselves, reminding us that we are not defined by our feelings or our past. Instead, we are empowered by our ability to grow, learn, and transform. In understanding the origin of our emotions, we find the strength to embrace them with kindness and courage, ultimately freeing ourselves to live a life guided by intention rather than reaction. Acknowledge and accept. These two words carry immense power when it comes to managing negative emotions and guiding ourselves toward a healthier, more fulfilling life. Acknowledgement is the first brave step in facing our emotions. It's saying, I see you, I feel you too often. We're taught to suppress or ignore our feelings, to push them away as if they're signs of weakness. But suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear, it only buries them deeper, where they can cause more harm. When we acknowledge what we feel, we are choosing to face reality honestly, which in itself is a form of self-respect. Acceptance, on the other hand, is the follow-through, the commitment to allow our feelings to exist without judgment. This doesn't mean we're resigning ourselves to feeling low or wallowing in sadness. Instead, it means we're giving ourselves permission to feel without the added layer of guilt or shame. We live in a world where staying positive is often celebrated, and while positivity has its place, so does honoring our more difficult feelings. Accepting our emotions doesn't mean they will control us. It simply means we won't waste energy fighting against a part of our experience. By acknowledging our feelings, we're validating our own experiences and recognizing that we are human, complete with ups and downs. Each emotion, whether joy or sorrow, anger or fear, is an integral part of the human journey. When we suppress or ignore these emotions, we're essentially denying parts of ourselves, making it harder to feel whole. Acknowledgement doesn't mean we have to love what we're feeling, but it does mean we give our feelings the space to be heard, to breathe, and ultimately to heal. It's the foundation for any lasting inner peace and resilience, creating a healthier relationship with ourselves. Acceptance is also about removing the labels of good or bad from our feelings. Often we categorize emotions, happiness as good, sadness as bad, and this labeling can create an unhealthy pattern of avoidance. We begin to think that feeling anything negative is somehow wrong, that we must always be upbeat and optimistic. But emotions don't need labels, they simply need to be felt. When we accept that all emotions have a place in our lives, we stop viewing some feelings as failures or flaws. Instead, we start to see emotions as messages from within, guiding us toward growth and self-awareness. Another key aspect of acknowledgement and acceptance is that it allows us to understand our triggers and patterns better. When we are willing to feel our emotions, we can trace them back to their origins and learn more about why they arise in the first place. Perhaps we notice that a certain sadness often follows a difficult conversation, or that anxiety shows up in specific situations. Through acceptance, we gain a clearer view of our emotional landscape, becoming more self-aware and better equipped to handle challenging moments with grace. Acceptance also softens the intensity of our feelings. When we resist an emotion, it often feels stronger, like it's fighting to be seen. By allowing ourselves to feel what we're feeling, we reduce the power that emotion has over us. Instead of battling against anger, frustration, or sadness, we simply let it be, and in doing so, we invite peace into our experience. It's not about surrendering to negativity, but rather surrendering to our truth. This kind of acceptance is liberating, removing the weight of resistance and making space for peace and understanding. Through acknowledgement and acceptance, we build a deeper connection with ourselves. We begin to trust our capacity to handle life's highs and lows, recognizing that our emotions are not something to be feared, but to be understood. When we acknowledge and accept our feelings, we're sending ourselves a message that we are worthy of compassion, that we are resilient, and that we can move through any experience life brings. This deepened self-trust is empowering, helping us to face new challenges with the knowledge that we can handle whatever arises within us. Finally, acknowledgement and acceptance pave the way for healing. The more we practice acknowledging and accepting our feelings, the easier it becomes to let go of them when the time is right. It's a process of learning to hold our emotions gently rather than clutching them tightly or pushing them away. In embracing this practice, we free ourselves from the cycle of avoidance and suppression, making room for personal growth, resilience, and a deeper sense of inner peace. Focusing on positive habits is a powerful way to reshape our lives and influence our mindset. Our habits define much of who we are, not only shaping our routines, but also influencing our emotions, perspectives, and overall well-being. By intentionally cultivating positive habits, we create a foundation that naturally supports resilience and happiness. These habits become our anchors, providing stability and helping us navigate through challenges with more ease. Building positive habits doesn't happen overnight, but each small step forward strengthens our ability to overcome negativity and embrace a healthier mindset. When we focus on positive habits, we're essentially training our minds to find joy and fulfillment in the everyday. Simple acts like starting the day with gratitude, taking a few minutes for meditation, or choosing to move our bodies help us shift our focus from what's wrong to what's right. These small, positive actions serve as reminders that happiness and peace are built one step at a time. Over time, these actions become automatic, and they reinforce a more positive outlook without requiring conscious effort. The mind begins to look for positivity because it has been conditioned to seek out the small moments that bring joy. Positive habits also give us a sense of control, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed or caught up in negative emotions. While we can't always control what happens around us, we can control our response. Building a habit of taking a few deep breaths when stressed, for example, can make a world of difference in how we handle difficult moments. When we focus on the habits that ground us, we become more capable of handling life's ups and downs. We're no longer solely at the mercy of circumstances, but have practical tools and routines that provide stability and calm in any situation. Another benefit of focusing on positive habits is that they create a ripple effect in other areas of our lives. When we cultivate healthy habits in one area, it often inspires us to make positive changes in others. For instance, a habit of regular exercise might lead to better nutrition, improved sleep, and increased energy levels. These changes feed into each other, gradually building a more balanced and fulfilling life. As each habit strengthens, we create a solid foundation of well-being that helps us respond to life's challenges from a place of strength rather than exhaustion or negativity. Positive habits also play a crucial role in boosting self-confidence and self-respect. Each time we commit to a habit that nurtures us, we're making an investment in ourselves. We're saying, I'm worth this effort and I deserve to feel good. This repeated message of self-worth builds confidence over time, reinforcing the belief that we are capable of creating a life that aligns with our values. The sense of accomplishment that comes from sticking to our goals, even in small ways, empowers us to take on new challenges with a stronger belief in our abilities and our resilience. Establishing positive habits also helps us create a sense of consistency and predictability in our lives. When we have routines that bring us peace, joy, or energy, we have a sense of security that becomes a refuge during difficult times. These habits act as pillars, keeping us steady even when external circumstances are beyond our control. By having a morning routine that centers us or an evening ritual that unwinds us, we give ourselves touch points of comfort and stability that remind us we're grounded no matter what's going on around us. The impact of focusing on positive habits extends beyond ourselves to the people around us. When we're committed to positive change, we inspire those around us to do the same. Our energy, mindset, and actions influence the people we interact with, and by modeling habits that uplift us, we often encourage others to adopt their own positive routines. This creates a cycle of support and positivity where we uplift each other, strengthening our collective well-being. These shared moments of encouragement and growth reinforce our commitment to our habits, reminding us that our actions have a far-reaching impact. Lastly, focusing on positive habits is about prioritizing our long-term happiness and growth. Negative emotions and setbacks are a natural part of life, but our habits help us move forward rather than staying stuck. By prioritizing actions that nurture and empower us, we're actively choosing to shape our future in a positive direction. Each habit becomes a building block, supporting our journey toward resilience, purpose, and inner peace. In focusing on habits that bring us joy and strength, we're designing a life that reflects the best of who we are and prepares us to handle whatever lies ahead. Mindful practices for mental resilience are tools that empower us to stay steady and grounded even when life throws challenges our way. Mindfulness itself is the art of being fully present in each moment, aware of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. When we incorporate mindful practices into our lives, we develop a sense of calm and clarity that helps us face adversity with greater ease. Mindfulness isn't about avoiding difficult feelings or ignoring problems. It's about embracing each moment as it is and finding our center amid life's fluctuations. A foundational mindful practice is mindful breathing, a simple yet powerful technique that helps us reconnect with the present. By focusing on the rhythm of our breath, we anchor ourselves even when faced with stress or anxiety. Each inhale and exhale becomes an opportunity to return to the present, releasing tension and grounding ourselves. Over time, mindful breathing becomes a reliable tool for navigating difficult moments with calm and composure, helping us cultivate resilience by reminding us that we can find peace within no matter what's happening around us. Meditation is another essential practice that builds mental resilience. By setting aside a few minutes each day to sit in quiet reflection, we train our minds to let go of distractions and return to our core selves. In meditation, we observe our thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. This teaches us to relate to our emotions with a sense of detachment, allowing us to observe them without reacting impulsively. With time, meditation strengthens our ability to handle stress and negativity, helping us cultivate a sense of inner peace that becomes a source of resilience in challenging times. Mindful practices also extend to our daily routines through techniques like mindful walking or mindful eating. With mindful walking, we focus on each step, feeling the ground beneath our feet and noticing the sensations in our body. Similarly, mindful eating involves fully engaging with the experience of tasting and savoring each bite. These small practices train us to bring mindfulness into our everyday lives, cultivating an appreciation for the present moment and breaking the cycle of mindless habits. This shift encourages us to live with greater intention, fostering a mental resilience that makes it easier to stay grounded and present. Gratitude is a mindful practice that can greatly enhance mental resilience. When we make a habit of focusing on what we're grateful for, we naturally begin to shift our mindset toward positivity. Practicing gratitude helps us recognize the abundance and beauty in our lives, even when things are tough. This perspective builds resilience by reminding us that there is always something worth appreciating, regardless of our circumstances. Each day we choose gratitude, we're strengthening our ability to focus on the positive, making it easier to bounce back from setbacks. Journaling is another mindful practice that helps strengthen mental resilience by giving us a space to express our thoughts and emotions freely. Writing down our experiences allows us to process them, understand them, and often gain a new perspective. Through journaling, we can reflect on our challenges, celebrate our progress, and learn from our experiences. This practice fosters self-awareness and encourages us to see our journey with compassion, equipping us with the mental resilience to approach future obstacles with a greater sense of confidence and clarity. Practicing mindfulness also involves cultivating self-compassion, an essential element for resilience. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially in moments of difficulty, we become more resilient to life's ups and downs. Self-compassion allows us to accept our imperfections and mistakes without judgment, creating a mindset that supports growth and healing. When we're compassionate toward ourselves, we're more likely to persevere through challenging times without feeling defeated, knowing that our worth isn't defined by our struggles or setbacks. Finally, mindful practices encourage us to embrace impermanence, the understanding that everything in life is constantly changing. By accepting that emotions, situations, and even people come and go, we release our attachment to outcomes and develop a flexible mindset. This acceptance makes us more adaptable, helping us flow with life's changes rather than resisting them. Embracing impermanence allows us to see challenges as temporary experiences rather than permanent barriers, fostering a mental resilience that empowers us to keep moving forward no matter what life brings. Self-compassion and discipline is about balancing our drive for growth with kindness and understanding toward ourselves. Too often, we associate discipline with strictness or a harsh, tough love approach. But discipline rooted in self-compassion creates a foundation for real, sustainable growth. When we practice self-compassion and discipline, we recognize that we are worthy of achieving our goals and deserving of patience along the way. This mindset allows us to pursue excellence without harsh self-judgment, making our efforts feel purposeful rather than punishing. At the core of self-compassionate discipline is the understanding that mistakes and setbacks are natural parts of growth. We tend to be our own worst critics, berating ourselves when we fall short or fail to meet our standards. But when we approach discipline with self-compassion, we learn to see these moments as opportunities for learning rather than as failures. Instead of reacting with frustration or disappointment, we ask ourselves what went wrong, what we can improve, and how we can improve, and how we can do better next time. This process nurtures a growth mindset, helping us move forward instead of getting stuck in self-blame. Self-compassion and discipline also involves setting realistic goals and expectations. Pushing ourselves is valuable, but it's important to remember that lasting change takes time. When we're overly strict with our expectations, we risk feeling overwhelmed or discouraged. Self-compassion reminds us to set goals that challenge us yet are attainable, allowing room for gradual improvement. This approach creates a healthy, sustainable path to growth where each small step forward builds our confidence and keeps us motivated rather than drained or defeated. A compassionate approach to discipline includes celebrating small wins along the way. Too often we overlook progress unless it's big or immediately noticeable. Self-compassion encourages us to recognize every effort we make toward our goals, no matter how small. By acknowledging our hard work, we reinforce our commitment to growth and foster a sense of pride in our journey. Celebrating these steps keeps us motivated, helping us see that discipline isn't just about the final outcome, but about each choice we make along the way. When we approach discipline with self-compassion, we also develop resilience. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will inevitably arise that may slow our progress. Instead of feeling defeated when things don't go as planned, self-compassion allows us to adapt, recalibrate, and continue moving forward. This resilience is rooted in kindness, understanding that setbacks don't define us or diminish our worth. Self-compassionate discipline helps us bounce back more readily, reminding us that we are capable of overcoming obstacles without being harsh on ourselves in the process. Practicing self-compassion and discipline fosters self-trust. When we are kind and understanding toward ourselves, we build a relationship of trust, knowing that we will be there to support ourselves through challenges. This self-trust strengthens our discipline because we know we're working toward goals that truly matter to us, not just goals imposed by external expectations or self-criticism. We learn to trust our abilities and intentions, making each discipline choice feel more authentic and aligned with our values. This trust fuels our motivation, reinforcing the belief that we can achieve our goals. Self-compassion and discipline also teaches us to view self-care as an essential part of the journey. Discipline can sometimes lead to burnout if we neglect our well-being in the process. Self-compassion reminds us that taking breaks, resting, and recharging are necessary and beneficial. By nurturing ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally, we maintain the energy and motivation needed to stay disciplined in the long run. This approach helps us avoid the pitfalls of overworking or pushing ourselves to exhaustion, allowing us to stay focused, balanced, and fully present in our pursuits. Ultimately, self-compassionate discipline creates a sense of joy and fulfillment in our efforts. Rather than seeing discipline as something we have to do, it becomes something we get to do, an expression of self-respect and love. When we approach discipline from a place of compassion, our journey becomes one of personal empowerment, where every step we take is motivated by a desire to honor our potential. This shift transforms discipline into a meaningful, enriching experience that strengthens not only our commitment to growth, but also our relationship with ourselves. Creating an empowering environment is about intentionally shaping our surroundings to inspire growth, positivity, and confidence. Every day, our environment influences how we think, feel, and act. When we're in a space that encourages our best self, it becomes easier to stay motivated and focused on our goals. An empowering environment can be physical, our home, workspace, or the people we surround ourselves with. But it's also mental and emotional, shaped by the thoughts we entertain and the beliefs we uphold. Crafting this environment is an act of self-respect, creating a foundation where we can thrive and be at our best. To start, consider the physical space you spend time in. A cluttered or chaotic space often reflects and fuels a cluttered mind. By organizing our surroundings and filling them with things that bring us joy or inspiration, we create a space that energizes and uplifts us. Simple changes like adding plants, clearing away unnecessary items, or putting up reminders of our goals can make a big difference. Each adjustment to our physical space sends a message that we are committed to our well-being, reinforcing a sense of purpose and positivity. An empowering environment also includes the people we choose to have around us. Relationships can either lift us up or drain our energy. Surrounding ourselves with supportive, encouraging people who believe in us makes it easier to stay focused and confident. When we feel genuinely valued and understood, we're more likely to take risks and pursue our dreams without fear of judgment. These connections remind us that we don't have to do it all alone. Cultivating relationships with people who inspire us strengthens our resilience, helping us stay on track when challenges arise. Empowering environments also encourage personal growth by challenging us to learn and expand. In a nurturing space, we are more likely to be curious, to ask questions, and to seek new knowledge. Whether it's through reading, attending workshops, or surrounding ourselves with resources that inspire learning, we create an atmosphere that encourages growth. When we cultivate a love of learning, our environment becomes a place of transformation where we're continually discovering new insights and skills. This mindset helps us embrace change and approach life with a sense of curiosity and resilience. Our mental environment is another crucial element of empowerment. The thoughts we entertain and the beliefs we hold shape how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Negative self-talk or limiting beliefs can create barriers, preventing us from reaching our full potential. By practicing self-compassion and cultivating positive affirmations, we replace negativity with confidence and self-assurance. When we foster an inner dialogue that encourages and uplifts, we reinforce our commitment to growth, creating an internal environment that supports our success. Creating an empowering environment also means setting clear boundaries. Boundaries protect our time, energy, and focus, allowing us to prioritize what truly matters. Without boundaries, we risk becoming overwhelmed or distracted by demands that don't align with our goals. Setting boundaries with ourselves and others helps us stay focused and reminds us of our worth. Boundaries are not limitations, but acts of self-respect, helping us build an environment that encourages our well-being and keeps us on track. Our daily routines and habits play a significant role in shaping an empowering environment. When we establish routines that support our health, productivity, and happiness, we create a strong foundation for success. Simple habits like a consistent morning routine, regular exercise, or dedicated time for reflection build a structure that nurtures growth and resilience. Each habit reinforces a sense of purpose and discipline, helping us stay connected to our goals. An environment filled with intentional habits creates momentum, making it easier to stay motivated and inspired. Empowering environments also foster a sense of gratitude and appreciation. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective to one of abundance. Practicing gratitude regularly, whether through journaling, sharing gratitude with others, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the present, transforms our environment into a space of positivity. This mindset attracts more positivity and helps us see challenges as opportunities rather than setbacks. Gratitude creates an atmosphere of contentment and motivation, reinforcing the sense that we're on the right path. Ultimately, creating an empowering environment is about aligning our space, relationships, habits, and mindset with our highest aspirations. It's an intentional choice to build a life that nurtures our potential and honors our values. Every adjustment we make to support our growth, every boundary we set, every habit we cultivate contributes to an environment that strengthens us from within. An empowering environment becomes a source of strength and inspiration, a space where we can embrace challenges, celebrate successes, and move forward with confidence in our journey.